Hello, friends. Do you know the rest of the story? Well, if you've read any books, and maybe you have read some books during this time where many of you probably have had more time than you usually do. I mean, when the stores are shut down and the workplaces are shut down, or there's little you can do out with social gatherings and things, and all the restrictions are being put on, maybe you've had time to read more. I know many have. Of course, a lot of people have probably just watched movies and TV and things and maybe learned some stuff from that, maybe just entertain themselves. I don't know. But if you've had a chance to read, when you read a book, what do you look for? In fact, some people just can't wait. They can't wait to see what happened in the book, so they want to go to the end of the book to find out what the rest of the story is. They want to see the ending so they'll know what happened with the story that's being told. Well, you think about what has happened in 2020, and you might say, wow, I'd like to know how this year is going to end. You've had so many things happen this year. So many things with tornadoes early in the year that impacted a lot of places. With the whole coronavirus that's been the big thing that's impacted everything. You've had the riots and the things going on that's caused unrest and in cities all over this country and even in other places in the world. And you have currently, right now, in America, you have cities like in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington, and other cities in many states that are really in bad trouble and that are being run by people who are more lawless or have a law unto themselves and not operating by the laws of our land. So what's going on? Is it all political? I mean, there's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of unrest about perceived injustices that are going on in this country and being promoted and pushed in political circles of racism and prejudice and other things. And I have some things I'd like to share about those things as well, as I have some already. But today I want to read an article that I wrote called The Rest of the Story. Now, this was written June the 24th in 2011. And in 2011, about 9 years ago, it was summertime, and I was playing off of the vacations that people usually get to go on in summer, and I was playing on this idea of rest. So learn with me as I learned and as I read this article that I wrote back in 2011. This is the rest of the story. I've read the end of the book, and I know who wins and how it all turns out. Perhaps this is your experience with any summertime reading. Perhaps this is your desire to rest or have a vacation time from your typically fast-paced and busy life. Well, there's been a vacation of sorts, but not going on vacation like you normally would many times this year. Perhaps you are not satisfied with any time away or anything you are listening to, reading, or watching. Now, that may be this year. Playing off this summer time of the year, when many do take a vacation from normal activities and try to read and relax more, or even visit places outside of their normal daily routines, I will take this opportunity in this blog article to focus on the rest of the story. In our fast-paced culture and way of living in this information age today, we often find ourselves wanting to get away from the daily grind, wanting a break from work and normal responsibilities, a time of rest. There is so much needing to be done. The responsibilities with children and or other family members, the many activities and events with friends or groups you are in, the obligations at work and financially trying to keep up with your lifestyle and making the ends meet. The pressures in life might drive you to drink or to depend on other drugs or even come to other places of compromise in an attempt to cope. Truly resting is often nothing more than an elusive dream. Resting is not the same thing as sleeping. though our bodies should be able to rest when we sleep. When you think about it, sleeping, and at least some type of resting, does take up a major portion of your life. If you average spending about 8 hours sleeping every day, you will be spending 1/3 of your life asleep. Think about that. That means that if you live to be about 75 years old, you will have spent the equivalent of 25 of those years sleeping. Just take your current age and divide by 3 to see how many years you have been sleeping. Most of that time should include resting as well. We need good rest to survive and to thrive, to be healthy. Actually, with the frequent breaks that we take from our regular routines at work, we spend a lot more of our time resting than working. So, do you really need another break or vacation as desperately as you may think? This is interesting to consider from this greater perspective. Since we typically do not function very well without sleep and rest, it is obvious that sleeping and resting are very important parts of life. God intends that at least for now, we have frequent times to rest and sleep. This does not mean, however, that any authority should step into our life and demand that we sleep a certain amount every day or even at a certain time. If they get that far into our lives, that would be something. Well, listen, this issue is very personal for me, as it was for this reason, not getting normal or proper sleep and rest that led to all of my personal tragedy since 4/16/07. Though I was doing nothing to harm myself or any other person, authorities came and took me away to try to make me sleep. That was the reason they gave. And to make me rest. Sadly, their doing this and forcing me into the mental health system actually delayed my getting able to get some sleep and rest for several more hours. What they did not know or properly care to find out then is that I had been resting, though not sleeping as much as usual due to all of the ministry I was leading. I was also able to stay awake more then because I had been having trouble getting proper rest when sleeping, so I was able to more easily discipline myself to sleep less in order to stay awake and do what I could to help as many as possible in the aftermath of that terrible tragedy at Virginia Tech. It is because God was sustaining me then, and because I have continued to rest in Him, that I have not broken down, but instead have been able to overcome all of the things forced upon me and all of the ongoing tragedy in my life. This is the rest of the story that I talk about in my book, which, by the way, you can get a copy of, and I will send you a signed copy if interested. Lots of interesting things there. I sell it for $16 to help people remember 416. You can get a digital copy for less. If you get it retail, it's $22.99. I mean, you can get that copy of that book to see the rest of the story, at least at that point, and what I write about what happened in the tragedy, more tragic portion of what was happening in the aftermath of that shooting. But I say here, friend, I trust that you can have an enjoyable vacation time this summer. Not much time left before school starts, if it does indeed start in a few weeks. It's been delayed some, but I hope you have or will be able to have that time. But even more than this, I trust that you will learn to rest in His rest. You can find that rest that you often long for and even try to fill with busyness. You can come to rest in Him and find rest for that part of you that is so often neglected, your soul. Imagine what that would do for your schedule and for the health of your body. Consider the call of your Creator, Jesus Christ, as found through His own words in Matthew 11:28-30, as I've quoted before. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Let this be the rest of your story. So friend, we don't know how 2020 is going to turn out. We don't know the rest of the story of this year, but you be making sure that you rest in Him. And I hope you like this video, and I hope you'll share it with other people so that they can find rest as you have, as I have, and hopefully you have. And I hope you'll subscribe to this channel. And if you do, make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll know when I post another video. So friend, find rest in Him.